Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. I'm Brian, and I'm joined once again by Ryan after he had some business to attend to across the narrow sea. Ryan, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Brian. I'm glad to be back, and yeah, glad to be in Westeros once again.
Yeah. Unlike Kevin Lannister, you had a safe voyage. You didn't get pushed off the ship into the sea, so that's good.
Yeah, I guess I didn't have a rogue ally who was just like, we're flipping the ship right now.
Yeah,
We're going full kamikaze. I'm probably gonna we're all gonna die.
yeah. We're all gonna die, all of us for sure. Well, so let's start there. What have you thought of the season so far?
I thought it's been really good, excellent. You know, the last season, it's been a while. I didn't get to rewatch it. Right, I think we talked a lot about people had different expectations. I think we both thought for what the show is, it's been really good and really consistent. I'd actually say, like, I think consistently it was higher quality than the last couple of seasons of Game of Thrones, to me at least, right? Well written, well directed. The casting's incredible. Of course, there's things you could pick apart, but I think this season, it's probably the, I remember, I think the last season I really liked the beginning, but I think it might be the best start so far. I think it's really good.
No, I totally agree with you. I think that people are too tough on this show. I don't know why. Like the acting is incredible. Yeah,
Mhm.
sometimes the writing can be hit or miss, but like overall, I think it's more hit than miss. I know it's not exactly George R. R. Martin's story, but let's be honest. I like the Fire and Blood book, but it's not really like a story. It's more just like a list of events. And, these writers are having to fill in the gaps.
Yeah, not to mention you're dealing with much different source material, right? Like I'm sure we've spoken about this before. That's written from a historical standpoint, right? So it's not written like the original books are, right? It's a blurb. Like it's definitely like if I had to guess the entire, it might be like what, like 30 to 40 pages, something like.
Yeah, it's not a lot. It's not a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a lot for what it is, but comparatively, it's not a lot. It's written in a more like a mock historical style. And I believe, I mean, I think George R. R. Martin is coined as the author of that book, but am I correct that I think there's also a few different people
Yeah, yeah,
that do the majority of that writing for those?
yeah,
Basically, like, some of the guys that like keep guys and ladies that keep tabs on, just his huge universe, because how the hell would you keep track of all that?
yeah. No.
So it's like we're not even like getting into, because that was the thing with Game of Thrones. If you look at like some of the early seasons, like I was shocked when I reread the books that like a lot of the best speeches were literally just like word for word Martin's writing like that. That's just
Right.
how good he is at his apex. But this isn't that, right? They've taken this, and yeah, they've taken it in a slightly different direction, changed some things around, but I think it's right. It's encapsulating the main ideas, which are basically like, yeah, these two getting a really petty little dick measuring contest that it basically kills all the dragons and sets the Targaryens up to be where they are years later when the dragons are extinct.
Yeah. And I think that gives us a good like segue into this episode because I thought this episode felt like a POV chapter more than a lot of episodes of Game of Thrones did. You were at, we have the beginning where Damon picks up fake Daron, uh and then we have the intro, and then from that point on forward, this episode is through Rhaenyra's eyes as she's having a little bit of a breakdown, given that she just lost her son, and I really it's been like what a week since she's lost both sons, and then she doesn't know who she can trust. She has all these people coming to her with various like complaints or issues. It's heavy is the crown, right? As they say. And you really felt it. And I thought this episode was so good because of it.
Yeah, the directing was really good with that. Is where you felt like you were like, oh man, she's about to have a panic attack. Like the
Yeah.
or the room is closing around her, and they continued that at different points, and they like synced it in like right at the perfect moment when everything seems to be swarming around her, right? And I also liked how they made the reference to what would your father do, and it's like he would have thrown a feast, and you're like, oh yeah, of course he would have. But like yeah, the feast with like the family, where I think Aegon makes a fucked up comment about like, or doesn't he hit on like one of the chicks, like pretty abrasively? Like, yeah, that feast was maybe a little grim, but that was like, with his messed up family, and like while he's all like, he's all messed up and old and about to die. But I remember watching the feast. It's like, oh, this feels like more of a Rhaenyra feast than Rhaenyra now. I guess she was the delight of the realm when she was younger, but like, kind of she comes up more than it does her dad. Because her dad definitely would have like a jolly feast with like music and stuff. And then serving the rats, and it's like, all right, yeah, this is a Rhaenyra feast. This is Rhaenyra being Rhaenyra, right? She's taking no prisoners. She's not caring what others think about her, and she's ruling, right? Um, kind of a little bit of that like tight-fistedness and like firmness, but not quite where like Damon is, where Damon's just, I mean, you could just burn them. Like,
yeah, Damon, tough episode for him. He found out about his boy Simon getting killed. I feel like that tore him up pretty bad.
I mean, I think though he's doing. I was actually thinking this watching it today. I was like, man, Damon's like doing really well for Damon. The fact that he can just like sit back and like not do more, and like he's okay with her being the queen, and he's all right being like the queen king. Like,
yeah, the king consort, as Simon
yeah,
called him a lot last season.
But I think that's really good for him, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess like what else would he do? But
yeah, now that he knows about the prophecy, he's all in on Rhaenyra, so that helps.
And but the fact that he was more respectful when she's like, yeah, I don't want to go conquer the world right now. He's grown a little bit.
No, such a Damon idea. Be like, all right, we got King's Landing. Let's fuck actually getting everything in order. Let's get the rest of the world.
Oh yeah, and it's like, and apparently there's like these guys that can fly, and it's like, oh man, you're thinking of like getting some of those like prostitutes who can fly, aren't you?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm totally thinking about that. Yeah, how could you not be?
Oh man, but the citizens of King's Landing have been struggling. I did like the feast scene a lot as well. I really enjoyed the scene of her passing stuff out. I thought that was great, but Rhaenyra's in some trouble here. There's the last little fuck you by the Lannister, who, as we know what happened in the book, but he moved the gold from King's Landing, and now Rhaenyra is broke. Not great.
No, not a particularly good situation, right? And we see this part where she's been so used to the warring part, and like when she was a kid, right, and she got to play the fun parts. She's never really had to do this end of ruling, so it's a complete shock for her, right? So I think they did a really good job of that. And again, she's able to get by right now, and we see a little bit at the end of the episode, a little bit of that charisma that she had that got the common folk going, but she's still kind of just struggling one day at a time with it. And then again, at the end of the episode, we find out you already kind of revealed that the Darien is a fake Darien, right? So yeah, even though she is sitting in Westeros, she is sitting on the Iron Throne. Yeah, things aren't necessarily so stable right now. She is still going to have her struggles.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bad situation. I love the scene when she goes in to Alicent. She's like, "Where's my gold?" And Alicent is like, "What? I don't know." Like, they cut me out.
Yeah, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what she would expect. I think Alicent, I think, had made that obvious, right? That she'd been cut out. But yeah, I think too, Rhaenyra's never had to really deal with this stuff. And right, she even asked Alicent about it, and Alicent's like, yeah, it's not like fun. Like, you have to make up messed up decisions, and you can't please everyone.
No. And I mean, it's so real. We saw it last season with Aegon too, when he was trying to get the sorry, my dog is barking so much in the background. Sorry to all the listeners out there. I don't know how much it's coming through. But yeah, no, we saw this last season with Aegon when they were like going like, hey, the crown's taken like a bunch of our sheep and we need, some assurances. And Aegon's like, yeah, of course you could give it. And Otto like pulled him aside. Was like, no, you can't do that. You can't make everyone happy. And it continues into this scene, right? With the people coming to see her and being like, hey, they took all of our sheep and we don't have anything to make wool. And the butchers are like, yeah, we don't have anything to make meat. So, it's all about sheep, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Much like Settlers of Catan.
Well, yeah, I guess that is true. I guess dragon loves sheep. That must be the thing, right? And then she talks about the Kingswood, which is kind of interesting, and we'll see how that plays. I mean, I guess it's all minor political stuff. There is a lot of, a lot of sheep being brought up for sure. But I mean, right, that's kind of the big thing with the Targaryens is the dragons. And I mean, they have these dragons, and it's like Damon said, you can use them for force, but also the dragons are the reason they rule, but they also cause a lot of fear. And I think some people are resentful. We saw that with the do they call them priests? Oh,
Oh,
Septon.
yeah,
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 the
yeah.
Septon. We saw that with the Faith,
Septon.
right? Where he believes dragons are unnatural creatures. And honestly, I'll be like, when I was watching it, I was like, oh, it's like the, you get kind of inside, I guess, when it's fiction, but it's like, just light this dude up. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to put up with this. Like,
Yeah, hey, I mean, the faith of the seven such an important part of Westeros. In the book Fire and Blood, there's a lot of time devoted to how Aegon and his, heirs and everything had to deal with the uh seven, and even had wars against them. That was crazy. So I think Rhaenyra knows like these guys can be a huge pain in the ass. And I mean, look at Cersei in the original show. She didn't have a great time with the High Sparrow either.
no, yeah, you would think it's like it's so tough because you would think it would be like really easy to snuff one out, but then if you do, then you threaten to awaken, I guess, the people who serve below them, and then that gets the common folk going.
Yeah, yeah, it's a tough situation. That guy was a bit of a bitch, I have to say. He's not very nice.
Yeah, it was kind of like, I mean, well, all right. My situation with it is more like when he's like, "Well, I just anointed Aegon." It's like, yeah, but dude, you fucking met Aegon. I know he's nicer now. They got like burned, but like, he's still kind of a dick. Like,
Yeah, probably will be even more of a dick. I don't know. We'll have to see. No Aegon in this episode, which was sad because I really have liked the scenes with him and Laris this season.
oh yeah, no, I was kind of surprised he wasn't in it at all. Kind of curious as to what's going on there. Um, yeah, I was pretty surprised. And again, you're kind of impressed by like Allison's character development in the sense of she's being like really reasonable. I think like she is really getting
Yes.
short end here, even though she really helped. And like Rhaenyra is pulling no breaks. Like I think
Yeah.
she really isn't pulling any sympathy. And then she's like, also, can you like help me? We're besties again. It's like it's like, whoa, like
Yeah.
you just beheaded her dad, like, and did not prepare, and she's handling it all really well. I don't know
Yeah.
what.
And like, already offered up one of her sons, if not both of them. Um, and now she's also talking like, hey, I'm gonna send Darren to the wall. It just is a lot.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, we know, right? Rhaenyra is projecting all her frustrations and losing her sons. Um, but again, I kind of think like, I don't know, maybe with Allison, it was like maybe Sir Kristen sent her like a mixtape, and she was like, all right, you know what? I'm done with all these irrational emotions and just being a fool. I just gotta lock in and just do what's going to keep the realm alive right now. I'm all set
Yeah.
out on.
Yeah, no, Sir Christian this episode either. That's 2 episodes now. He's not even been in.
No, he was in. Was it the well, not two. I think it was the last episode. Um, Amond is flying over the sky, and he's like, you know, they do like the bros thing where it's like they're all like basically lifting a beer, like, yeah, to Harrenhal, all right.
Right. Yeah.
I think that was the last episode, but yeah, it wasn't in this episode. But there's really nothing. I guess they want to leave that mystery, right? Because the last thing we know is Amon is taken care of by that girl, and I missed. But right when I saw him like make out with his mom, with like while she had the open eyes, I was like, oh man, this is gonna get like, it's gonna get weird with the dynamic between her and him and the witch.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's gonna get weird, like you said.
She does a really
Also,
good job of play. Sorry, I just want to say she does a really good job of playing that character, almost to an unsettling degree. Like I feel kind of uncomfortable when she's on camera. Like, even when she was asking Damon, it's just like, oh, will you stop? Like being crazy. Like,
well, she's gonna be pissed because she thinks she deserves Harrenhal, and now Rhaenyra's put a bounty out for Harrenhal. Granted, the bounty is killing Aemon, which she's in position to collect on that bounty right now.
yeah, she's in great position to do that. Well, I don't think I think Damon made it pretty obvious. Like, yeah, I'm not going to do that for you.
No, yeah. That's so funny. It's actually pretty reminiscent of this scene where the dragon seeds are being knighted by Rhaenyra. And, Rhaenyra, I get it. They're common folk. You could have been a little nicer to them.
Oh, to the dragon seeds. Yeah, I did think it was funny though. I thought like Ulf was maybe saying like he'd style himself in the colors of a Targaryen for
Yeah.
or something, but then when you realize he's actually saying he's gonna style himself Targaryen, you're like, all right, that is a stretch, especially how they've been
Yeah.
talking to you, man.
Rhaenyra's immediate. Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah,
So good.
just his look, he was just like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, that can make us jump to I kind of think she's doing Corliss pretty dirty here.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
I don't think it's a smart move on her end at all. I just don't see why you would do it. It's like, apparently, right, these guys look enough like Corliss, like she's saying they look like Corliss, right? Everyone is able to believe that pretty easily. Your kids don't look like Targaryens, so I don't necessarily think it's directly linked. And it's like I guess you're not opening that to the public, but you're clearly showing your insecurity, at least to him, right? When he was the guy, I mean, I guess at the same time, right, his son wasn't going to produce an heir, and he didn't want his son to be exploited for that. He was also hiding for years that, you were basically like sleeping with another dude while you were married to his son, given it was agreed. And he literally named one of your sons as heir at a point, right? So it's like, I just thought it was kind of a weird time to double down. It's like you kind of need the sea snake at this point. Like,
oh yeah, dude. His wife died fighting for you. His heir, who's your son, he knew that wasn't his son, but he was like, whatever. History remembers names, not blood. And for her to do this is so shitty.
it's very, I really was like, and they're not, it's just, yeah, it's shitty, but it's like beyond that, it's just like, so this is so stupid. Like, why would you do this? This is your most staunch ally. I guess what it does is it creates that dynamic of like the Valerians and the Targaryens where it's like, yeah, we're like cousins technically, but you guys are like, our lesser cousins. You can sit down there, like,
yeah, right.
and the sea snake. Obviously, we know he had a lot of pride, and I think he swallowed a lot of it, and he's kind of grown. And this is going to create more tension between them. Is he her hand to the king or queen? I don't think it's been enough.
So,
You would just kind of assume, like, based on how he's acting, and I can't think of a better choice.
Yeah. Same. No, I mean, this is so shitty, and we'll see how it plays out. But like, Adam handled it well, but you could see He was pretty put out by it.
Yeah, I thought he was a little put out, but I think with Adam, I mean, I think they wanted the name, but I don't think that he doesn't strike me as someone who's going to have wrath over it. It's more like he knows that his dad's going to be pissed probably, and I think right, and I think his brother, I think even he doesn't his brother. That's what's like cool about Adam and Alan is like Alan doesn't even really care about the stuff that comes with the name. He just wants to be recognized and have a name, right?
Yeah.
It's like pretty human. Yeah, I mean those characters are pretty stand up guys.
Yeah. And then he's chilling. He's having,
Yeah, yeah, he's kind of boring, but
yeah.
it's just like, hey, let's have like Ron Swanson be jacked and have like a blonde tail. That'd be pretty fucking sweet. Like,
I mean, he does look sweet.
oh yeah, that's it. I mean, he looks like a jacked Ron Swanson with a Targaryen ponytail. It's kind of funny. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like, what is this guy doing here? All right, yeah, he can ride a dragon. That's cool.
No, yeah. Yeah. So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, real bad on Renero's part here.
Yeah, not
I
a good.
get it. You're very sensitive about people accusing your sons of being bastards, but come on.
We're seeing definitely a little bit of that butt end of the dragon, right?
It's like Joffrey is now her heir. So it doesn't matter. He's not going to be Corliss's heir, you know?
No, yeah, exactly. I don't think it has to do with that. I think yeah, it's a tough one. I think again, we're kind of seeing with her right now, it's like she doesn't want to deal with certain things and she doesn't want to come off as a bad person, but in doing so, she's also like, you can say what you want for someone like Damon, but at least Damon's approach, it's straightforward, right? It's going to get the solution done. She's just kind of trying like, all right, I want to avoid people knowing this. I want to avoid everyone thinking this, like, and that might, and, she also doesn't want a ton of conflicts, which is good. Like she is, in her eyes, she's looking out for the greater good of the people. But yeah, I think the way she's kind of treating others who have helped her when, they didn't necessarily have good reason to help her to the extent they did. I just think like Corliss really went out of his way there and has really been like a staunch ally. And then like Allison, again, it's like, I mean, give her something here. Come on. Like,
I totally agree, dude. It's crazy. But
it
we'll
wouldn't
see how
be
it
like so
plays out.
without it, right? Because if she
Yeah.
was doing the right things, then if she was doing the right things, then right, it would just be a settled kingdom or whatever. And if she was doing, the wrong things where I mean, like obviously you don't support like Damon's kind of thing where I'm saying like she should just go burn a bunch of stuff and conquer everyone. But
Right.
then it's like because in reality, that is kind of what I was thinking when we were talking about like the faith and stuff. It's like, well, in reality, she has a bunch of dragons. If they, because yeah, what could Cersei have done? Nothing. Her knights probably would have gotten overtaken by the common folk eventually, right? But in this case, I mean, well, Renee has so many dragons. I think they'd be fine,
Yeah.
and and I don't think people might not be happy, but eventually they would submit.
Right. Oh man. I think the ruse for the fake Daron was very entertaining. What did you think of that whole thing?
I didn't pay much mind to it. I honestly like with that one. I believe that Daron. I don't think he had. I don't want. I don't know. Do you want me to say anything? I don't want to ruin anything from the reading. I just don't necessarily think he plays a big role in the reading,
Yeah.
from what I remember at all. So I was like, who knows if this is even like any plot of substance? I wasn't. I was like, it's kind of weird how quiet he is, but like, I guess what else would you do in this situation? It's kind of smart. I was like, actually, well, I guess it. I was like, because he doesn't seem crazy like Aemond, but he's not like seems a lot cooler than Aegon. Like he knows like snitches get stitches.
Yeah.
Like, gonna
I
be
think
keep my mouth shut. So I think that was fine. I didn't really think much about it, and then the fake. I mean, it makes sense. Like if you got a prince, and you're Orman Hightower, and I mean, he clearly is doing some sort of drug, right?
Yeah.
Like, he was like, sort of, like I don't know what it was, but it was like, oh damn, that dude's getting messed up. If you're that dude, like, and you're just like living that life, you're like, yeah, it'd be pretty fun to just have a prince on deck. I can slip back and be like, what's up?
I think it also, so let assume in the first episode there's a guy next to Orman who I think we all think is actually Daron, and he has the same color hair as Allison. It adds so much subtext to them sending him to Old Town because he doesn't have the Targaryen hair, and the whole thing about Rhaenyra's kids not having Targaryen hair, like it's like, oh, well, we can't really push our claim for Aegon as the true heir if we also have a kid who doesn't look like a classic Targaryen.
I
So we're
didn't.
just going to send him to Old Town.
I did not know that. Did they show Darian earlier on in the show?
People think that's him
But did
because he
early?
looks like he could be Allison's
I
son
got you on that. But did they show him earlier on? Like,
before this season.
yeah, before the season, did they show him as a little?
No.
Because from what I could be wrong, from what I remember in the text, I believe he was blonde. I believe he had the Targaryen look.
He does. He does in the book. Yeah.
In the book. So that is a change. Well, it would be interesting because, right, that's kind of a big thing about the thing with Rhaenyra's kids is like, yeah, all these guys are coming out with Targaryens. It is a little suspicious. Like, right, there isn't that flaw, right? Like, most of the time, the Targaryens see it shows through like pretty strongly. And it's not an exception with them. So to add that in would be interesting. I do think that. However, I think it would kind of mess with the text and the point.
Yeah. We'll have to see, but I think it could be an interesting
Maybe they dyed his hair.
thing.
That would be
They
interesting.
could have dyed his hair. Yeah. I mean, hey, if they got hair bleach in Westeros, they have, any kind of bleach.
It would be smart, but you'd also think if he had had brown hair, when was he sent off to Dorne?
Yeah, presume he would have had to at least be like a couple years old.
Someone would have seen him, I think, and would have been like,
Yeah.
"Hey, that kid doesn't have like white blonde hair." But
Yeah.
it seems plausible. I didn't know that. I'd have to go back and look at that scene specifically to see the guy. It is kind of interesting.
Yeah. No, I'm super interested to see how that, all plays out. I've loved this season, Ryan. I know people online can be critical of it. I think
I
it's so
mean,
good, and I can't wait for the next episode.
yeah, no, I totally agree. I watched through it just like no problem. It was like snapping right back in. Yeah, I would say from what I can recall, it is probably it's the best of the show I've seen. At least, if not the best, it's exactly on par with anything I considered the best. Yeah, I'm gonna watch it immediately when it comes out next week, and I was very impressed. I mean, I've thought the show overall is decent, but yeah, this definitely took a step up. I was like, oh shit, this is good. Yeah, like, and there's more action. It's a little bolder, and I was kind of like if you look at all the scenes with the dragons and stuff, I was like, people really can't be complaining anymore. Like they're not like just like like I guess like sometimes like they would in early Game of Thrones like they would save a lot of the high budget stuff for battles. I was like, they're not doing this here. Like there's like a lot of stuff like going on.
Yeah. Yep. It's awesome. We even get like dragons just hanging out in this episode, which they didn't have to show
No,
to Sarion, but they did, and I thought that was cool
and
too. Also, people have been like, "Oh, why didn't they bring him back?" It's like, well, how would you bring him back? You're not going to let Daron ride him back to King's Landing, so I presume there's just some dragon keepers hanging out with him.
well, yeah, we don't really know. They didn't really show us. I would assume they did take Ciceron back. I was my assumption.
See,
I
well,
assume.
I
I,
thought that
I assume.
remember at the end of the episode when that dragon keeper comes?
Yeah, yeah.
until I figured that he was there, and that's why he saw um, the High Towers attack. What was it, Tumbleton or whichever village?
Yeah, yeah, but I assumed that yeah, they took it back. Like I don't think they would just let the dragon stay there.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah.
All
No,
right. Anything else from this episode that you wanted to touch on that we haven't already?
no, not really. I was just thinking just to go on what you just said. I think too showing the dragons like that more often, showing them all hanging out, all like just the cool scenes of them just like swagging in with a bunch of dragons. Like I think it's very important because in context of like, Game of Thrones was such a huge show. This world has become big. And when we get to Dunk and Egg, there aren't any dragons anymore. I think it is uh, there's not any dragons at that point, right? Or if there is one, it's like dying. Yeah, no, I didn't think so. But um, just had to double check myself on that real quick. It kind of shows like, yeah, this is how it was, right? And this is like when Danny gets those dragons. This is like what that represents, that power, right? So I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. Anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
No, not currently. We did at one point used to do some NBA podcasts. We probably should have done one on that crazy, uh, the
Yeah.
crossover between this and like basketball is probably a very small group, so we won't get into that. But we probably should have gone over a pretty crazy trade. But
Yeah.
as of right now, I can't think of anything I've got. No.
Yeah, we'll get back to that. So go to where you get sports if you're into sports for our sports talk. Check out the main channel. We get everything where we cover video games in the form of video essays, video game reviews, those fake nerds for daily news around video games for the most part. And then our podcasting channel, Better Radio, where we post these, and also we're covering Big Brother this summer, so you're not going to want to miss that. We just got the cast reveal later on tonight around 8 o'clock. I will be going live with Ben and Chad to break that all down. So lots of content. You don't want to miss it. Subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.